So, welcome back to Try or Die Garage. For me, it's been about 3 weeks, I think, since I've made any content. If you're watching this, you might be watching the 10 plus episodes that I put up all in a row, so this is not 3 weeks for you. But basically where I left off on the last video was I had stripped everything off the bike, and I had basically then taken or sent everything off for stripping or powder coating and finishing. So I'm now moving into, I guess, the reassembly phase of the bike. There are still a few bits and pieces that need polishing up and cleaning up. But what I want to do is I'll kind of do that as I assemble the bike. So there's a few things that I need to do as a priority, but I thought what I would do first is to actually show you what I've got, and kind of show you where I am at with the bike. So I will give you a little tour around the garage, show you what I've done so far, and then we'll go from there. So bear with me a minute and I will flip the camera around. Right, so starting with the frame. So I had the frame stripped, blasted, and it's been powder coated. It's not a specific Suzuki blue color. It was kind of the closest thing that I could come up with. Under the light it looks a lot lighter than it actually is. It's quite a dark blue. I think it's a RAL 5000 or something like that. But basically I'm working on a budget. I wanted to do the frame a nice metal flake or candy color, but basically just to buy the powder for the bike would have been like 200 quid, and then plus the powder coating. But basically I took the frame for powder coating. I also took the swing arm, and there's a whole box of bits that are underneath the swing arm that I'll show you in a minute. But basically it's getting the bits and pieces back together. I have my wheels. I eventually bought a new front wheel that was already white, because the cost of stripping the wheel, removing the bearings, replacing the bearings, powder coating it white, and then putting it all back together was basically the same cost, about £80 of a wheel I saw on eBay. So I've got a white wheel and I didn't have to do anything, and it's got good bearings. The other thing that I did was I had the engine vapor blasted. Now I didn't do that by stripping down the whole engine. What I did was I sealed up all the orifices in the engine really well, and I did that. So for example, on the intakes, I actually had some on eBay. You can get custom silicon bungs made up, so I gave them a slightly oversized for the intakes, and they produced a silicon rubber bung, so I plugged the intakes with that. I also put sponges in the end of the intakes, and I covered the intake rubbers up with tape. For the starter motor cover, I bought some rubber, a rubber sheet, and I basically sealed it up and then put the cap back on. On the exhaust side, hang on a moment, let me just adjust my tripod a bit. On the exhaust side, again, I actually bought some rubber bungs that were actually a standard size. They're rubber end caps used for tubing. So first I put sponges inside the exhaust ports, and then I used the exhaust clamps to secure the rubber bungs into the exhaust holes, and that pretty much sealed up the engine. Unfortunately, instead of filming a bunch of stuff that I've been doing, I don't know, I get into the garage, think I need to do something, start doing it, and then I realise I've done something and I haven't filmed it. But basically what I did was I then painted the engine. So I've just used a satin black engine paint, and then for the cam cover and the starter motor cover, I've used just a gold high temp caliper paint that you can use on brakes. I have left the cam chain adjuster, I've just left that as bare aluminium. I've also left the top head as bare aluminium. You can't actually really see that at the moment because of the paper that I've put over the cams. I had a little bolt kit that I got. Don't know if you can see that. I don't have much space. Let me take this off the tripod. Yeah. So basically I've replaced the engine bolts with a bolt kit. I also have a bolt kit for, it was basically a complete kit for the engine and all the covers. I cannot get that screw out, and even though I used the JIS screwdriver, that front screw, I'm guessing because it's exposed to so much water, etc., is not coming out, so I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do with that. You can see down here. So basically the engine is looking really nice. Look, it is not a stripped down professional job, but I think it looks pretty cool. You know, it's not perfect, there are little bits of dust here and there, but the reality is nobody's really going to see that. So the other thing is, what have I got in my box of bits? So here's the swing arm. I've just done that in a silver. Where should I put this? You're probably wondering what the towels are doing here, but the towels are actually for putting the engine back in the frame. But what I'll do is I will use that to put the swing arm on. So that swing arm is a Mekmekex original, and it was originally made, and you can just about see in there, GSX 1100. So it was originally made for katanas or similar, and it is original Mekmekex. So that was stripped and blasted and powder coated. In here I have had the exhaust, the stainless exhaust has been blasted. I had the hubs blasted and I have painted that black. I stripped the caliper and rebuilt it with new pads, new pistons, new pins, etc. And and that's ready to go back on. The brake discs that came with the front wheel had rather manky black paint on them, so what I did was I had those acid dipped, and then I just took the wire wheel and polished up the centers, so I think they look pretty good. Behind here I have all the brackets for, well, basically everything else. So the brackets, the center stand, the side stand, and various bits and pieces, I've had them powder coated black. So yeah, that's kind of where I am. So the next thing I wanted to do today is I want to get the cam cover back on the bike, and hopefully get the engine back in the frame, and that is definitely going to be, I think I've figured out a way to do it. I've got some rubber blocks and some pads and whatnot, so the intention is to lie the engine on its right side, slightly raised off the ground, and then I will lower the frame over the top of it, and see if I can then get the rear mounting bolt and the front mounting bolts actually in place, and then I can put the bike back up on, rest it on a tyre, and then what I will do is add other bits and pieces and go along. That's kind of the plan. Whether that will work or not is another matter. So here is the cam cover. Before I put it back on, I need to get the old gasket off. I think some of it is going to come away quite easily, but what I'm going to try and do is try and just gently take it off. Hang on, let me get a fresh blade. Get it off. I don't want to leave anything on the surfaces, so the plan is if I can get it off without leaving anything on, that would be great. Right, all I need to do is, I've got a fresh gasket here, so I'm going to get this out, and we'll put it on the engine, I think. So if you bear with me, let me reposition the camera. There we go. Right, so I need to figure out first what goes where. Looks almost as if it's a mirror image but obviously don't want to get that wrong. So get this off. I had a look at the cams and everything, and everything seems fine. There doesn't seem to be any scarring. Seems to me to be in pretty good shape. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Now this is interesting. There are no bolt holes. Let's have a look here. So there are some oil galleries. No, this is definitely not it. Are there any oil galleries? No, I think this goes. So here's the thing. There is a locator pin there and a locator pin there. That needs to have sort of extra large. See those holes in the gasket there, and this no. Okay. So you can see there is a larger hole there, and that needs to go over the pin, the locator pins. But it does not. The only way this gasket will go on, no, this gasket doesn't fit either. So this is the wrong gasket. Why does it look? Right, let's. Yeah, it's the wrong gasket. Suzuki 750 GSX. No, that's not what I wanted. Ah, fuck. Right, well, this is going to halt proceedings straight away, basically. It's the wrong fucking gasket. It's close. Very, very close, but no cigar. It is not going to fit. So, yeah, you can see the original gasket has bolt holes for the cam chain sort of nose on either end. The new one does not, and it also has a larger hole there and a larger hole there, basically for the locators. So this is very, 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 very similar. They want to make it fit. No, it's just even the bolt holes for the cam cover are, yeah, I mean they're not even close. So the plan today was to, as I said, put the cam cover engine on, the cam cover on the engine, and then put the engine back in the frame. And that is clearly not going to happen. So here's what the engine looks like mocked up. So yeah, bit of a pain in the arse that the gasket doesn't fit, but what can you do? There's other shit that I need to do on the bike anyway. But basically that's what it will look like. I think it looks alright. Not everybody's a fan of the gold. I wasn't quite sure about it either, but it seems that a lot of people doing Katana resto mods are including gold, so I thought I'd include it. I didn't want to do too much, so if I sell the bike and somebody doesn't like it, then they just need to respray the cam cover and the starter motor cover. What you can't really see well from here is one of the few bling purchases that I made, and that is a genuine Yoshimura sprocket cover or sprocket protector or whatever you want to call it, from WeBike in Japan, which came with genuine Yoshimura sticker. It's amazing what a child I am, but to be fair, I could have spent 2, 3, 4, 5 grand on the WeBike website. They've just got some amazing shit for katanas basically, and any 80s Japanese bikes. So I think I will end this for now. Yeah, I'll end this for now and then get back to you guys when I have a gasket and we can put the bike engine, or the engine back in the fucking bike. Put the engine back in the fucking bike. Yeah, so as always, thank you for watching. Yeah, thank you for watching, and I'd appreciate it if you would like, share and subscribe. As always, you're welcome to leave your comments, thoughts, opinions down below. The algorithm doesn't care whether you love what I do or hate what I do, but it does help me. So cheers, take it easy gents, and remember, if you stop trying, you start dying. Cheers.